What's going on, hockey fans? The off-season is underway, but for the Dan K Show, what does that mean? It means that we usually do something. There's some important grouping of players that we put together. Lucas is here, so that means it's the All Dan K, All Lucas J Show coming at you now. My right-hand man, my consigliere, mon frere from another mayor. It's time to draft the best teams in all of junior hockey, the most illustrious teams to be named to in all of junior hockey, the ultimate all-star teams, Lucas.
And they get harder and harder to pick every year. I mean, it's a bit much at this point, right? That with every year the level of competition gets better and better. Every year the crop of players seems to get better, and every year these teams get harder to make.
Yeah, we look at these elite sides today. We will pick the All Dan K and All Lucas J teams, the best of the best according to the Dan K Show, the most watched show in junior hockey in the USPHL Elite from this past season. Remind you, it's not just all about points here. It's about the little things, the hard hits, the hard work and attitude, and you know what I mean? A little bit off the ice too, in the classroom, off the ice in the locker room, working with the guys. This is a like the all Madden team back in the day. Lucas and I will have a coin flip to decide who picks first. Lucas, heads or tails?
Heads.
The coin is in the air. I've caught it. It is heads. Lucas, would you like to pick your forwards first or your defensemen first?
I would like my defenseman.
He has gone defenseman, which will mean this. We will start with our 12 forwards. I will get my first forward line. Lucas will then, snake draft style, get two forward lines to pick before I snake my way back. Lucas, quick snake draft. First pick, Anaconda.
Coppertail.
Coppertail. That's not a snake.
It might be though. It might
Copperhead
be.
is one. Pick number 2, round 2. You get a snake draft, another snake.
Common garden snake.
Oh, that was going to be my next one. Python. A reticulous snake.
Oh, are we still going? I'm out of snakes.
I'm pretty sure I made up the last one. I don't know what that one was. Come on, a rattlesnake. No, but we're going snake draft style. We'll then pick our defensemen. We'll have 6 of those. 1 extra skater can be forward or defense. Then 3 goaltenders. We'll also pick a head coach, an assistant coach, an owner, and 2 broadcasters to create our broadcast booth in the Elite. I'm ready to make my first picks here, Lucas.
Go for it, Dan.
With the first pick in the All Dan K team draft, Dan K selects Lorenzo Marquetta, the young man from the Florida Eels in '03. I'm going to put him alongside Edward Kienzel and Braden Strong from Carolina. Kienzel from the Aviators, Strong from the Junior Canes. This guy not just strong in the big moments, but strong everywhere on the ice. I think this top forward line, cool 300 points by the end of the season.
I don't doubt it. Those are some great picks for the top forward line, huge impact players for their team. I think with my next couple of picks, I'm going to have my work cut out for me to try to rival that. But I think I've got some good ones, especially because I get 6 forwards in a row. I'm going with John Crodell from the Rockets Hockey Club, Eric McHale from the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, and we do talk about Bruno. It's Josh Bruno from the Cyclones. I think this top forward line for me is not just about the points, it's about the physicality, right? These players a little higher in the penalty minutes than you might expect, but I like that for a top forward line because it means they're aggressive. They're not afraid to get after it. I want that mix of speed, skill, and physicality.
I love it, man. You got Crodell. I mean, you look at a guy who's leading the league in points. He was a point getting leader all season long. 83 of them, 54 assists, 20 power play assists. This Rockets Hockey Club team had one of the best elite power play units in the country. You talk about McHale. I mean, this ain't McHale's Navy. This is McHale's hockey team here with Eric McHale and the Wilkes-Wagon. You know how much I love the Wilkes-Wagon all year long. And Josh Bruno, they talk about him all day long. This guy, he is absolutely off the charts, consistent with the puck on his stick. I can't wait to see who you got next year.
Yeah, next up we've got Zoran Varga from the Potomac Patriots, Jacob Gifford from the Carolina Junior Canes, and centering them, Cooper Lundberg from the Atlanta Mad Hatters. Lundberg is a young talent. He is an 05. The fact that he's an 05 and put up offensive numbers like he did this season, 58 total points, is insane.
Yeah, you look at him. I mean, this guy does a little bit of everything for his squad. Varga's the big pick up there. That's a guy I was going after next. I was going after him and Gifford, galloping Gifford, right? I thought about putting Gifford with Braden Strong on my top line, but I couldn't pass up the chance to get Kienzel and Marquetta together. It's a creative three right there, the triumvirate. I like the line. I think Varga's one of the best forwards on the planet. 2004, probably playing for the Premier next year in Potomac or moving up the ladder somewhere. That guy's next level. I get a couple picks though now. I get six in a row. You got your six in a row. You left me a lot of talent here on the board. And I'm starting. This ain't Michael Bolton. This is Sean Bolton. He's playing more hits than Michael Bolton over here. Hitting the high notes of year 2005 from the Palm Beach Typhoon. 82 points you left up on the board, Lucas. 43 goals for this kid. Wesley Wilding and Spencer Barrow are my next two picks on this line. These are guys from the Southeast Division. They play a 200-foot game. And that's what I love about these guys. Wesley Wilding, Spencer Barrow, when these guys are rolling, it's a wheelbarrow full of goals. It's where the Wildings are, is where the pucks are finding their way into the back of the net. I think this triumvirate, it screams all Dan K team to me, and not just all-star team, not just point getter, right? It's Bolton who can get you the points with Wilding and Barrow who can do it on both ends.
Well, Bolton is a guy who doesn't quit. 7 shorthanded points, 3 shorthanded goals, 4 shorthanded assists. Those numbers, those definitely scream a guy who's willing to go the extra mile, not afraid to kind of put his stick out there and reach for a puck and go get after it.
Yeah, now we go to my next forward line. I always talk about depth in scoring, right? And the ability to get a lot out of your third forward line when you get to the national tournament. This is depth, man. This line right here, super depth. We're gonna start with the Duke. Gabriel LeDuc. This guy, a year 2004 from the Islanders Hockey Club, Jake Punske. What a job he's done at the elite and the premier levels. We'll talk about him a little more later in the show. I'm going to put him alongside Makar Korchenko from the Northern Cyclones, who had a big natty tournament, year 2004. And then David Semi from the Potomac Pats, the Patriots. David is the semi-truck man. This guy is loaded. This guy can make plays. He's absolutely creative. This third forward line, when they come over the boards, keep your heads up. The boys are going to be hitting people.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an intimidating line. You've put together a bunch of guys who are, very creative in their own right, very physical when they want to be. And you don't really know how to play a line like this, right? These are all guys that, because they're so versatile, there's no one way to shut them down. This is some Kingmaker stuff out of Team Dan K.
Speaking of Kingmakers, who are you making Kings here on your last two forward lines? You got the third and fourth. Let's see this depth move right now from the man with a mustache.
Well, big depth move coming through. Luke Moses from the Carolina Junior Canes, Alexander Klingerman from the Florida Eels, and Louis Davis from the Rockets Hockey Club. The Rockets Hockey Club, they built a good team this year. They really did. You do want to talk about creators, guys who can get it done when they're on the ice together. This is like a dream line for me.
Yeah, and I just broke my pen here off the air. I was trying to grab a pen. Thing just absolutely exploded out of my hand. So I had to grab a new one, taking some notes here. But you look at this forward line, Moses is my guy, right?
Yep.
Like, you look at Luke Moses, he's an absolute creator, absolutely gets the job done on both ends of the ice. Difference maker for a Canes team that won a cup. I think it's a great pick. This line, I'm excited to see what you got next. Who we got in the fourth one?
So the fourth line, I got a little bit of a mix here. I went with kind of a veteran presence along with 2 young guys that I'm pretty excited to continue to watch develop. From the Bridgewater Junior Bandits, Quirino DeCanto, right? He is your 0-2, putting together a lot of points, an absolute heck of a season this year with 61 total points, over 1.39 points per game. Love him. On either side, 2 0-5s. Edward Asante from the Hitmen, Patrick Toth from the New York Aviators. This is like the balance. I like to see when elite teams do this as well in the real world, putting a guy who's a little bit of a veteran with guys that are skilled but younger, right? It allows a little bit of a mentor-mentee thing, even though there's only 3 years separating them. But, I just think that all of these guys are so immensely skilled that they need to be together.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Asante. He was one of my favorite players to watch down at the Florida Showcase in the Elite.
Yep.
Then you talk about DeCanto. This guy singing songs of net minding headaches, right? This guy can give any netminder trouble in front of the net. He can plant himself there, plays that big role. Good veteran for that team this year. Toth as well. I mean, this Aviator Elite team, I think we slept on them all season long. They've been so fun to watch. I got three more forwards to pick, and this is my favorite part of the all Dan K teams. It's when I can put a forward line together like this, right? Three guys that are just my highlighter guys. Guys that I don't need to see a number on the back, a name on the back to know that they've jumped over the boards to take the ice. It's the way they play the game that I've fallen in love with that play style. It's guys that I would go to a scout any day, a college coach, and tell them, these are guys I can vouch for. You'll never have to worry about effort and output from these three. Number one, Gabagool! We're talking Gabagool. We're talking Santino Capone, okay? Santino Capone's going to go out there. He's going to say, here's what I need, okay? I need a little Gabagool. I need a little bit of the hockey puck. Get me a couple bagels and get out the way, okay? Get out the way. Get off the tracks, okay? A little Seprasad to the back of the net. A little bit of a little Gabagool. That's all it's about. Santino Capone from Hampton Roads, 04 beauty. Next up, one of the best names in hockey, Maverick Rudolph. Rudolph, this guy, a year 04 from the Wilkes Wagon. Just a creator, man. Just creative. Never stops working. You never see the effort level drop with Maverick Rudolph. Finally, you want to talk about the story of the national tournament, Carter Radasta. This guy running to the boards there, just battled through, continued to fight for his side. Carter Radasta of the Junior Canes, a year 05. There's a reason why they won the title. There's a reason why there's a bunch of names on this list. And Carter Radasta is one of the guys that led the way.
I mean, this is a line full of players who don't quit, right? That is what you love to see, and that's why I love doing these all Dan K show teams and rosters, because you can put guys together, and there's going to be some other picks as well throughout the Elite Premier and NCDC where it's guys we just love to watch play the game of hockey, right? And these are a few folks here who have shown that they are some of the most intense players currently in the game.
Well, we know that there are some intense players on the way here with the defensemen about to get selected. Talk about how tough it is to make these teams. Over 20 teams. What is it, Lucas, in the elite here? We've got a bunch of teams nationwide, and you get 6 defensemen. Count them, 6. There were 23 teams in the USPHL Elite this season. There were 23. Now you got the Midwest coming in. There's going to be nearly 30 teams skating around in the USPHL Elite in the 23-24 season. 6 guys. You get to pick 6. This is, I mean, it's tough enough to be a forward. Trying to be one of these defensemen, you must have had 2 guys in mind because you asked for the first pick after winning a toss.
Yeah, and I'm going to go a little kind of off brand here because these 2 guys, they're not these very defensive defensemen. These are offensive defensemen who can play lockdown defense on the other end, but they've got a lot of points between them, and they're on the younger end as well. Colby Markham from the Carolina Junior Canes in 05, and Matthew DiCarlo from the Jersey Hitmen, who's in 04. I mean, I call the Carolina Junior Canes the best elite team ever put together. I stand by that. And that's why you're seeing a lot of Carolina Junior Canes on this side. I love the way Markham plays. It's aggressive. It's hard hitting. And Matthew DiCarlo, I just feel like exemplifies everything that Jim Raymond's system brings to bear on you, right? Just, you love to watch him play the game. Again, a lot of points. But if you told him, hey, I need you to not shoot a single puck today. I need you to just swarm the ice. I need you to play defense. I need you to hit bodies. He's going to get that done for you.
Brings to bear. Never heard that used before. I mean, I made a mistake once of brings to bear. I brought some honey to a bear thinking, I mean, obviously, friendly if I bring him honey. He was upset that I was in his space. You don't want to mess around with bears. You just don't. And the playing dead thing didn't work. Tossed me around for a while. Lucky to get out of there. Avoid bears at all costs, especially if you're doing a snake draft. Next up, I like to go with defensemen that kind of work together. Left hand, right hand, right? Like, if I'm going to build a team, a lot of times you get a defensive juggernaut this season like the Charlotte Rush were. It takes the left hand, right hand. You can't just pick one guy most of the time on a defensive unit, right? If you got a scorer at the blue line, you need the defensive hand to be back there waiting for him, hatching back and making up for some of these 2-on-1 breaks. If you got 2 guys who are kind of even with one another, it just talks about their ability to work together. I'm going Ben Pearson and Schweitzer, no swiping. Wesley Schweitzer, who never listened to that, taking pucks away from skaters all season long, 2003s in the Charlotte Rush.
And there's experience, there's talent, there's guys who already, like you said, are right hand, left hand. And the Charlotte Rush team was no nonsense. I mean, they're no nonsense every year, right? And you always focus on the offensive ability of the Rush, but they're defensemen, man. I would not want to be trying to split any of these pairings.
No, not at all. I mean, you look at these guys, Ben Pearson and Wesley Schweitzer, they'll probably move up the ranks next year and skate on that premier side. These guys are just difference makers for this side. Coach Kleckner, Coach Schwabe, the whole crew there, I know they loved having these guys on the blue line. And if you like that pick, Lucas, this one, I'm going to two different squads for down south. Going to Columbia, and I'm going to Atlanta. The first ever Columbia infantry player to be named to an all Dan K team in program history. Brendan Marcoux,
Knew it.
my guy, the year 2005. And you know what? I hope this pick doesn't make it too crabby. Noah Crab from the Atlanta Mad Hatters. Crab, crab.
You have taken you have taken the my two intimidator picks. Guys who are just their big bodies, their physical presences. They play a upfront in your face game, and I love watching every second of these two when they're on the ice. You making the little crab, maybe a little less intimidating now. Great work. I mean, these two, they're defensemen. They're so good at what they do.
Yeah, and you look at Crab. I mean, you just can't go wrong with the 30 points. And you talk about year 2004, 6'5", 215.
Yep.
You put Marcoux next to him at 230. I mean, this is like a boulder and a mountain. That's what these two guys are, right? They absolutely can play rock solid, lockdown defense. They can score on special teams. Noah Crab's a guy who played a little bit in that Palm Beach Typhoon style too. Like this is a kid that just gets it. Good player, good, just all around. Watching Noah Crab kind of develop through this season has been absolutely stellar to watch. 48 points in his USPHL career, 10 power play goals, 28 assists. Fun player to watch. I got to go back to you now, Lucas. You've got four defensemen to pick.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little more interesting here because with those two taken, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. And I'm gonna take Jack Moskowitz from the Rockets Hockey Club. I
Ooh.
love it. I love a low PIM defenseman. More points than PIMs, twice as many to be exact. Responsible hockey, never gets in trouble. Love that for Moskowitz. Also going to end up taking a bit of a futures pick here as well. Carter Trussler from the Tampa Bay Juniors. He is an 06, which is wildly demoralizing for a 91 such as myself.
Yeah, and Trussler, I got a chance to watch him a lot here, right? He's at my home rink now, down here in Florida. He's 30 minutes away. So I've gotten a chance to watch a lot of Tampa Bay Juniors Elite hockey in person. Trussler's got a huge future. This is a young man that if you're a coach watching right now, a year 2006, I have Carter Trussler on my draft board right now if I'm in the NCDC. I got Carter Trussler all over the place. A Euro 6 difference maker, big future for the young man. Talk about Moskowitz, Rockets Hockey Club, defenseman playing for Coach Wags. You know he's going to play well for you.
Absolutely. And my last defenseman here, they are a pairing. So similar to what you did with Charlotte. Dan, I challenge you to spell defense without three letters. IHC. You Islanders Hockey Club, their defense is just so stellar year in and year out. Connor Horn and Justin Panuski. These two are the top defensive points getters, yes. But the Islanders Hockey Club at every level of the game is one of the best creators of defensive talent in the USPHL. I love what their elite team has done this year. I also love what their premier team has done. A little bit of foreshadowing there. But for Panuski and Horn, these guys are no-brainers.
Yeah, I mean, you don't ring the goal horn when Connor Horn's on the ice, right? You just don't. And you talk about Panuski with them. That's another opportunity to talk about left hand, right hand, man. You need them both. You need two guys. Like that's how you get the job done at this level of the game. They've been fun to watch all season long. Jay Punske and defense, two words that are synonymous with one another. I challenge you to spell defense without Jay Punske in it.
I mean, some of those letters are in there, sure.
The K is in there for sure, but
Oh, yeah.
you look at it. That's a great pickup. And I know that New England division, that North division up there, that's a pretty defensive heavy division. So I might go to the Cyclones and coach Timmy Plums, the problem child, and pick up two of his guys. How about Brady Beaumont and Joshua Turn the Page over here? This ain't a Cat Stevens song. This is Joshua turning the page on these forwards all day long. They got no shot when Pagey's out there, and Brady Beaumont is an absolute stellar pickup. I can't believe I just got this is my third D pair. These guys could win you a championship today.
I mean, if you're trying to play defense, you gotta look at the North Division, right? They're locked down, right? It might be stereotypical to say, well, for forwards you look Florida Southeast, but that North Division just is so competitive year in and year out when it comes to their ability to just stop every single team that walks into their rink.
Yeah, and now we got an extra skater, and I'm about to do something that I've never done in the history of the All Dan K and All Lucas J teams. We've been doing this now for what? 6 seasons, Lucas?
6 seasons.
6 seasons. I am going to make my extra skater a defenseman. That is how much I enjoyed watching.
What are you up to? What shenanigans are you planning?
You talk about intimidation, and I've already got Marcoux and Crab together, right? But I needed a guy that reminds me almost of a Mr. Giordano from back in the day, right? The Giordano brothers with the big beard, looking like he hacks down trees as a pastime, looking like he eats a stack of pancakes for breakfast every day. This guy, half lumberjack, all incredible defenseman, Liam McCusker, my extra skater.
I absolutely love that. He's one of a kind. And just talk about a guy who's got fundamentally solid, right? A guy you never have to worry about. It's a great pickup. I love that.
I love the way this guy plays, Lucas. Who do you got as your extra skater? You're usually a defenseman guy too. I see a guy up on the board that has Lucas Jones written all over it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I watch a lot of Atlanta Mad Hatters hockey. I'm kind of on that feed quite a bit. So I get to see a lot of what the Premier and Elite team has to offer. And as far as defensemen go, I think Colby Sims is someone who deserves a huge spotlight. 22 goals, 22 assists, 44 total points. And, he earns every single point. He earns every single minute. And he's just someone who I've watched a lot of, and I think he's an impact player.
He absolutely is. I think it's a great pickup. It's one of those where Noah Crab, if I didn't still have Brendan Marcoux on the board, who I wanted to grab to have the size on that second D pair, I would have just put Sims with Crab, right? You could do the same thing you did with my Rush line and my Cyclones line here. I like the pickup. Colby Sims is a great selection. Let's go to goaltending. Dan K gets the first pick here, and this is going to be potentially the toughest pick in the history of hockey between some of the guys that are at the top of here. But this guy stopped a million goals. It's Maxa stop a million goals Pierce. That's what max a million saves, max $1 million is what he should be worth, man, the way he plays net for the Cyclones. Max Pierce led the whole thing in saves percentage. Had that battle with Tristan Falsetto that he just barely lost. It took just a greasy, good battled goal from a tough Carolina team to get one by him and win that game. What a season for Max Pierce.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with the season that he's had, certainly. And again, you talk about what the Cyclones are able to do on the defensive end, and it starts with Pierce, right? It's net out. And I think Maximilian is just a hugely special talent in net and makes Northern a tough opponent to try to go win a game against.
Well, let's hear who you got next year, Mr. Lucas Jones. So you got two goalies.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dan. If my vocal range were the same as yours or Matt Prier's, I would hit you with a high note on this one. It's Tristan Falsetto. There you go.
Goalies, talk about Tristan Falsetto. How was that?
I would once again go with haunting. Falsetto's been incredidible. It is a perfect symphony when he's in net. It's confidence, right? Again, you talk about building from the net out. Having a netminder like Falsetto allows you to be more confident on the offensive side. It allows you to push the puck. It allows you to take risks. It allows you to throw out big hits, play with intensity because you're confident in his ability to stop all types of shots, right, and to manage a game effectively. So I think Tristan Falsetto is a huge talent right there. For my second netminder, I got to go back to Jim Raymond's squad. I got to go with Frankie Smith here. I really, really like a Jim Raymond coach team. I like the hockey philosophy. I like the way he approaches recruiting. I like the way he approaches development as well, prioritizing the needs of the players, really allowing them to flourish. And I think Frankie Smith certainly has flourished into a absolutely incredible goalie.
Yeah, and I would love. This is one of those years. This happens every year. There's always a team where I've got a bunch of guys I want to pick, and then you take every guy from that roster that I want, and it looks like I'm like anti Jimmy Raymond because I don't got any hitmen on my team. What a pick with Frankie Smith. This guy is an absolute difference maker. You talk about Tristan Falsetto. I mean, it's a coin flip between Falsetto and Pierce. Like you couldn't go wrong with that pick, right? You pick either one of those guys. If you had those two guys in the same net, I mean, what do? You have no shot. Never score a goal against that team. I got two picks here. I'm going to start with Dylan Bougen. Love the family, man. What a group they were. They're so supportive of Dylan. You got a chance to meet them out at the event. Brett Luthner got a chance to meet him as well. Mr. Elite at this year's Nationals. Bougen, difference maker for the Wilkes-Wagon. Nearly won him a cup. Just barely gets edged out in OT by the Carolina Junior Canes. Dylan Bougen. I'm going to put with him Ethan Carlone. Every time I called a game with Carlone and Nettie, put a shutout up. So, I mean, you look at that type of output, you look at that kind of performance, that's an easy pick for me. I don't think that there's ever a moment where you question it.
No, I mean, I think those are great picks, right? I mean, Bougen is obviously one of those guys who's super consistent. And then Carlone, you want to talk about a sneaky good season. How about Carlone being absolutely stellar, right? Not just in numbers, but the way he plays kind of reminds me of Frankie Smith, right? Just someone that when you see them, when you watch them, they look solid, they look confident, right? Even sometimes if they have an off game, they still look like they're in total control. So I love that pick.
Let's hear who the final player selected. Don't go anywhere at the end of this. We still got our coaches to pick, our owner to pick, and our broadcast duo. But the final player to be picked in the all Dan K, all Lucas J Elite Draft.
Dan, the last time I stayed at Hotel Kemchek, you told me that in addition to the Aquatic Center, there was now Casa de Dank. I forgot about the rebrand. You told me that in addition to the Aquatic Center, aka a bottle of water in the room, I could also have as much La Croix as I wanted.
La Croix.
I am taking that to also mean that I can have as many goalies named La Croix as I would like. So I got to go with Anthony from IHC. Again, defense is spelled with IHC. They develop really good net minding. Guys who put up the numbers, guys who can move well. Anthony moves well. Anthony looks confident. He just never looks out of depth. That's a big thing for me with goalies. He never looks like he's overwhelmed, even when the situation is overwhelming. And I think that's something that passes my eye test. I know it passes yours as well. I know he was on your list, had to be, with the season he had.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Lacroix, another guy you just can't miss with. There's so much great net minding in the USPHL Elite this season. We talked about it off air, Lucas. I mean, you're getting to a point with the NCDC, with the Premier, with the Elite, where the USPHL is your go-to place for net minding. Like, you look at the national tourney, you see a guy like Comesso out there, you see a guy like Yanni Peretz, you see him backed up by Chase Clark. You just, the amount of talent coming out of the net here in the USPHL, it's getting ridiculous at all levels. And you talk about, let's look at the guys we didn't pick. Jacob Sanders, Carolina Junior Canes, 1.57 goals against, a 9.33. Evan Crawford, 6 shutouts, most in the country, 1.82. He was also the star of the game in the outdoor game, the Carolina Cup. Pavel Matuinin, 1.90, 9.32. Remember, Matuinin and Sanders both in the same net as Tristan Falsetto. You talk about Edward Caven, 9.32. Dylan Bruce from Tampa, 9.21. Jonathan Jensen had a great season, a 9.07 from Tampa. Michael Grima faced 1,000 shots and had a 9.19. I nearly picked him.
Crazy.
Christopher Licenti, a 900 this year. Daniel Van Brunt, a 9.11 saves percentage on 721 shots faced. I mean, that's a guy from Columbia who we got a chance to see early on in the year at the Southeast Showcase. He's a difference maker. He's a game changer. A lot of guys not on this list. Lucas, you get to pick your head coach, first dibs, through the Elite.
Well, I was very vocal about my opinion that the Carolina Junior Canes this year were the best elite team ever created. So you got to go with the guy at the helm, right? If you see a luxury speedboat, you should probably pick the guy who's driving it. So I'm going to go with Brad Gaylord because just recruiting, coaching, developing. There might not be anyone better right now.
Looks, guy's
Yeah,
handsome. We
attitude, charisma.
apologize now for the pictures that we took of Quenville and Coach
They were
Gaylord.
bad
They were
lighting.
not good lighting. They were bad lighting. They were bad angles. I've been there before. I can gain 25 pounds if you turn the camera in the wrong direction. I guarantee it. And we do want to let you all know at home, guys, certified 10, certified 10 out of 10, absolute beautician. We love you, Coach Gaylord. That's a great pick. I get two coaches now, and I'm going to go back up to that North Division. I'm going to go back to New England. I'm going to go with the problem child, Timmy Plummer, for the second consecutive year in the elite. My head coach. He's going to be assisted by Jay Punske, who every single season since he was with the Bridgewater Bandits, and now that he's with the Islanders Hockey Club, brings every team he coaches to the national tournament every single year and does it with two kids at home. This guy can do it all. Jay Punske, Timmy Plummer, no issues there. That's my two coaches.
And those two are just they're incredible at what they do, and they do it all. That's the big thing, right? They are guys that are in control. They are locked in. Jay Punske, right, just getting it done over there in IHC, and Timmy Plummer. You see him walking around a rink before a game. Good luck trying to get his attention. He is absolutely locked in. He's got the AirPods in, listening to. I probably should have asked him what he was listening to, so I could probably get on some of that focus train. I definitely need it. But they are locked in. They are incredible coaches. They really care about players, which is huge at any level of the game. I've got someone who I think did a phenomenal job.
Okay.
I was very, very impressed with the coaching expertise, especially at Nationals. Gaetano Moirano.
Nice.
Just, besides having a name that just sings, it is presence. It is, you almost feel like a little stewardship behind the bench, right? Like a calming air that knows how to get the most out of his team. And it's a stellar team that he had, but you feel like he's a guy that can get that little extra when he needs to. I think he did an absolute heck of a job this year.
Luke is trying to buy back the love of the Wilkes wagon after being booed out of the city of Utica. I love the picks. We got an owner now. You're going to pick one owner in the elite. We'll have two in the premier. Your owner in the elite.
I like choosing owners that I know who really do care about players. That's been the theme, I think, for the Dan K show for its entire existence, but certainly for the times where we've gotten to pick the staff and the head coaches. So I'm gonna go with Frank Scarpacci here.
Deal. We didn't bring it up at the beginning of this. We each have one steal before the end of each show. I'm stealing him. I'm taking Frank. You still have a steal if you'd like him back.
I might slide up and steal some defensemen from you instead.
What? No, you can't do that. We didn't talk about this.
Going off script. You go off script all the time. You don't even know what a script is.
We tried to script this. I was going to steal him.
You're gonna steal Frank Scarpacci?
I mean, I could.
I think you already did.
I'll take Frank. I mean, we didn't talk about this.
We're
This
truly. You can have
Oh, what are you doing here?
Frank Scarpacci. I still get to talk about Frank Scarpacci.
Okay, you're not taking any of my defense. You've already passed. The steal button was not pressed during the defenseman pick.
That's not a rule.
100% is a rule.
Since when?
Since right now.
Since right now, and I just made it up. Fine. All right. You want to make up rules, then guess what? You and your steal can go take a long walk. All right, because I'm taking Frank Scarpacci back. And you want to know why?
Fine.
Because I called Frank Scarpacci to ask him just a question about something. And we talked for about an hour and a half about his team, his organization, things he already is looking at doing next year to help the players, to help recruitment and to help the league as well. A guy who understands that strong teams make strong divisions, and strong divisions who work well together, everyone, make a strong league. Right? When we all play nice in the sandbox is a good place to play. He is someone who understands that. And I would love to have him as my owner.
I think it's a great pick, and I do want to say the same thing. I mean, Frank is he's one of a kind, right? And you look at Claire, you look at the whole family here in Fort Myers. I think it goes unnoticed sometimes just how much they do for the game and how much Frank cares not just about the well-being of his players, but everyone's players, right? And cares about the well-being of this league, cares about how things get done, why things get done. His work with the Nationals Committee, overseeing that on the chair, is listening to guys like us, looking at these two guys in mustaches, wearing Florida hats, and trusting that we had care enough to talk through the format this year at Nationals and work through that with everyone. I get behind tireless efforts behind the scenes with Frank leading the way, and just I thank him for everything he does. Like I think he's just a one of a kind human being who does so much for this game. It's unreal. So it's a great pick, and I think the only it's tough to make a pick here, but you look at Jocelyn Langlois, and this is the second year in a row he's going to get picked. Last year it was at the premiere. This year it's going to be in the elite. And I think Jocelyn's team. You talk about if you say that the best team in the history of the elite got put together. I gotta imagine their owner did a pretty good job, right? And you look at the school. This guy will teach gym class. This guy will take you to recess. This guy's running like a whole organization there from top to bottom. The building is absolutely beautiful. I'm excited to go back to Raleigh next year and be in North Carolina again in that awesome facility in a great town. Jocelyn Langlois, you want to talk about a guy who cares too. How much does he care? He and his wife, during the scare on day 3 of the national tournament with one of their players down and worried about his well-being. I mean, to jump into action, to be there for everybody, to communicate with us and let us know what was going on as it was taking place. Again, just when I think about owners and what makes a good owner, it's investment and it's caring and it's putting the well-being of our players first. Hashtag players first. And I think Jocelyn Langlois does that better than most.
Yeah, and it's about being on the ground too, right? These are owners who you see at games, owners you see at not just their rink, but where their players go. They are walking around, they are talking to parents, they are visible, they are reachable. That is the most important part of being an all Dan K Show team owner is being visible, being reachable, and being accountable. I think Jocelyn is incredible at what he does.
Now we will pick our broadcasters in the elite. These are the broadcasters of the year. I think at this point I'm calling this the Matt Prior Award for broadcasting. Won it so much. In the elite, I'm going to go to 2 new teams that came into the fray this season and put together what is going to be a really, really fun tandem. I'm going to put on play-by-play from the Columbia Infantry, Nick Harvey. This is a young guy with a big future behind the mic, man. What a beauty. What a job he does. And I'm going to put him with Crazy Charlie from Nashville. We got to get him this summer. We're getting him on a podcast. I promised him one. I keep falling off. I need to get him on the podcast. We're going to be talking with Charlie, man. He does such a great job. Renegades a Puck. Go give them a follow. Fun guy. Loves the game. Loves this squad. I'm putting him on color commentary so we can really explore the space. I got Nick. I got Charlie. That's my crew.
I love that. That would be a fun broadcast to just kind of kick back and listen to a little bit. I think I put together a fun pairing here too. I've got from the Jersey Hitmen, someone who I know is loved by Jim Raymond, the organization, and the players and parents. Most importantly, it's David Hashagan. He is someone who all you ever hear about is positive things. You tune into a broadcast, you love to hear it. That's the most important thing. It's entertaining, it's fun. And joining him, keeping that kind of that 10-mile radius energy right around North Jersey, New York area, Anthony Saccone, the New York Aviators, his first year broadcasting for the Aviators side.
Yep.
He approaches it with enthusiasm. He's very genuine, both in person and on the mic, right? Someone who jumps into the Aviator side this year, reaches out and says, "Hey, can you guys listen to the broadcast? And just if you have any pointers, give them to me. Can you teach me how to work the hockey TV setup so I know what I'm doing?" Right?
Yeah.
We in the middle of a road trip, we head out to Aviator Sports Center to go just to go hang out with them for a little bit, right? To show them how to do everything. Just someone who wants to be a part of it, wants to be involved in the positive way. So I'm putting those two together. Dan, we found some high intensity young talent here on the broadcasting.
100%. And you know what? This is not just a league growing the future on the ice. It grows the future on the benches. It grows some future owners, I think, at the next level. I could see some owners in this league one day owning an NHL squad. And it also creates the future of broadcasting. You look at a Nick Rush this year, who's won this award 3 times. And you look at what he did with the Florida Eels and now him with the Mississippi Sea Wolves out there, just enjoying life, man. What a guy. He is my favorite follow on Instagram. I love Nick Rush, man.
Oh yeah.
Forever will love that guy. He's a fellow advocate of Florida single A baseball as well, low A baseball. He's a fellow low A baseball avid watcher. I think you see it. The future of the game's coming here, man. We want to thank everybody for watching this one. We got the premiere coming up tomorrow night, so you'll get the USPHL premiere squad coming up next. That's your elite. The big thing for me, for all of you guys and gals watching around the country, is to keep in mind, if you've made this squad, just how tough this was. Okay, this is, you want to talk about. Let's do the math real quick, Lucas. While I do the math, do you have any parting words? I know you start doing parting words this time of year and you throw me off. While I do the math real quick, you go ahead.
I think in terms of the elite, Dan, my parting words are this year was probably the deepest elite format that we saw in terms of not just during the regular season but during nationals as well. And I will say the same thing about the premiere. I think that the recruitment is off the charts. That's due to a lot of what these coaches are able to do, right? They're providing development, they're providing opportunities for players, they're doing great work with these kids on and off the ice. So I like the direction the elite is heading. You're obviously adding the Midwest teams as well next year. What we've seen in the premiere is that expansion has risen the talent level. And then now you're going to get some more teams to compete with in the elite. You might get a little bit of a deeper nationals format as well. That remains to be seen. But I think in terms of the direction and what the elite league provides, it's top notch.
And you look at it, 6%. 6% of players that played in the USPHL Elite this year are on the All Dan K or All Lucas J team. That's a crazy number. And if we missed guys out there, let us know. We want to support everybody, right? We want to put a spotlight. I guarantee you, I missed a handful of guys, 2 handfuls of guys that could have easily been on either one of these teams. I guarantee you, Lucas did the same, right? And what we do, what we want to do, is highlight the best of the best. These players around the country and you families working so hard. We thank you guys in the elite for an incredible season. Stay tuned. We got the premier team coming up, the NCDC team coming up. We've got audio podcasts all summer long. We're gonna have content all summer long as well. When Dan K's on a mic, it is always hockey night. Pretty sure all Dan K team's going to win 9-2 over all Lucas J team because, I'm motivate the boys. I'm going to motivate the squad. We thank you for watching. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. Tune in tomorrow night for the USPHL premiere, all Dan K and all Lucas J draft.